Well, here we are at our very first Visual Studio demonstration. As I indicated before, we're just going to go ahead and take a brief look at the IDE. So let's go ahead and get started. As you can see here, I've got Microsoft Visual Studio 2005 up and running and ready to work with it. So let's go ahead and start out with the menus. Now notice the menus. We've got File, Edit, View, Tools, Window, Community, and Help. One of the things I'd like to point out at the very beginning before we start here is that if you've ever used any other Microsoft products, you'll notice that there are some common attributes associated with Microsoft's look and feel, and that's no different here for Microsoft Visual Studio 2005. So we've got File, Edit, New, and so I'll just go ahead and go through some of these menu choices here with you. And so I'll just left mouse click on File, and you'll notice I've got New, Open, Close, Save All, Source Control, Recent Files, Recent Projects. So all of those menu choices that you can see are all enabled menu choices. Now the menu choices down here, like Close Project, Save selected items, Save selected items as, Page Setup, Print, all of those items are not enabled or they're grayed out. Those particular items really have no meaning in the particular context that you're operating in at the present time. As I said before, Visual Studio 2005 is very context aware or context sensitive. So when you start working with the product, you'll notice that there are certain things in the environment that will change, and you'll see that as we go along. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cover some of the menu choices. Again, in New, you'll notice this little right arrow or caret off to the side here. So it's New Project, New Website, New File. If we go into Open, we see New Analysis Services Database, Open Project Solution, Open Website, Open File, and then Convert. By the way, I want to point out a couple things as we kind of go along here. If I go back up here to New, a new project will create the new project and solution, or a new website or new file. In any one of these situations, a new solution and project will be created. If I go down here to Open, I can go ahead and pick up an existing solution or website or file. And this item right here, this Open Convert, will actually take and run a wizard for you. There's a Java language conversion assistant and then a Visual Basic 2005 upgrade wizard. These will basically convert existing Java or Visual Basic code. Now going on here, let me close this up here, and I'll close that. Going on, this will close an existing open solution. You can save all of your open files, and then of course I'm using source control. I have installed on my machine Visual Source Save, so if I wanted to go ahead and launch Visual Source Save from here, I could do that. And of course recent files and recent projects are exactly what they say they are. In my particular case, I've only got my system set up to look at the last file that I worked with, or the last project that I worked with. You can have up to 9 different recent files or recent projects. Now moving on here to Edit, again you see the fact that we've got a lot of grayed out things, but notice down here Find and Replace is not grayed out. The reason for that is that in Visual Studio you do not have to have a project open in order to have Find or Replace in Files or Find in Files, any of those functions active. As a matter of fact, if you went into Find in Files and gave it like Procedure Division or Identification Division and told it where you wanted to look in, let's say for example a COBOL library, it would find that phrase in every single COBOL file in that subdirectory. So, and it would obviously either put the files in a list, or it would actually allow you to step through and open up those files on the fly. And again, you would see that in a Find Results window. And actually I've got a little Find Results down here. If I go ahead and bring that up, I actually did that here just a little bit ago, just to kind of introduce you to the window itself. So again, there's a lot of flexibility here. You can also use GoTo. There's Advanced, so you can edit your environment. You have bookmarks, and we have outlining. And we're going to see how bookmarks and Advanced and outlining, all those things work in just a little bit. In the view, basically the view is set up to adjust what windows or what components of Visual Studio that you actually want to see and have open at any one time. And as you can see right here, there's Server Explorer, Solution Explorer, the toolbox, Object Browser. There's the Find Windows. There's an area in here for pending check-ins. Since I have Visual or SourceSafe installed, I can also open up a window that shows me all of my pending check-ins. Moving on to tools, again, you see all of the tools. Now, one of the things that's different about my environment versus your environment is the first couple of entries up here. I've got this thing here called NeoBatch Wizard, NeoKix Settings Manager, and NeoKix Wizard. Those three things are add-in products from Fujitsu, basically from NeoKix and NeoBatch. NeoKix is a tool that is used to take IBM CICS, or if you're in Europe or other parts of the world, you all say Kix, but IBM CICS applications, that means the BMS maps or map sets, and of course the corresponding COBOL programs. And it converts all of those to an ASP.NET application. NeoBatch will take IBM ZOS or MVS JCL and convert that from the mainframe down to your local machine, and you'd actually be able to run that JCL down in an environment here on the Windows platform. So these three tools are set up specifically so we can do legacy migration or legacy modernization projects, and again, that's an add-in product from Fujitsu that you would probably not have unless you purchase those products. So we've got NetCOBOL for .NET utilities, we have a COBOL runtime environment setup utility, and of course we have a file utility in the event that you want to go ahead and manipulate any of the Fujitsu ISAM files or sequential files. It also does EBCDIC to ASCII conversion and that sort of thing. There's also the ability to connect up to a device like a PDA or smartphone. You can connect up to databases or other servers. You can modify your environment by choosing all the toolbox items. We have an add-in manager. We have an ActiveX control test container. We can create GUIDs. We have Dotfuscator out there. This Dotfuscator Community Edition basically comes with Visual Studio. And of course we can look up errors, and we have all kinds of other additional tools out here. And then of course you can import and export your settings. By the way, I suggest that once you have your system set up properly, your Visual Studio environment set up properly to your liking, and again, you could have Visual Studio set up any way that you want. You should export those settings and save those off so that in the event that you wanted to reset your machine, you could do so quite easily. And then of course we have customize and options. We'll get into the customize and options here in just a few moments. Under window, again, we can have a new window. We can split. Again, you can have them floating or docked. We can have tab documents. We can auto hide things. We can close all the documents. We could reset the window layout. And of course, you can see the windows that are out here right now. Under community, one of the most powerful features of Visual Studio and this whole environment is the ability to have an interface with the .NET community. If you have a internet connection and you obviously have permissions to go outside of your company to do this, you can ask questions, you can check on a question status, you can send feedback. There's a developer center, code zone community, and all of those are very, very important resources for you, the developer, to be able to get information about how to do things and tips and tricks, and you can raise questions and get responses back from the community at large. So moving on here is the help menu, and we saw this a couple of slides back where we talked a little bit about how you get help and how you look at the manuals and all of that. And again, let me reiterate that Fujitsu does not print manuals, so what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to get familiar with how the help system works and how to look things up and look at the contents of the online manuals. And we'll go through that in just a few minutes. We can also look at a little customer feedback option, so you can send information to Microsoft about what's going on. You can register the product, check for updates, and you can get technical support. And then of course you get help and about Visual Studio.